What happens when a vegan restaurant starts serving meat? That is the question of the day. Is it okay when they do that? Should we boycott them? Should we still support them? Why do they do this? And does it even help them in any way? These are the questions we're going to be exploring today. I really feel like in the last few years we've seen such an uptick in this, and I feel like I was inspired yesterday when I was walking home from Unity Diner, who recently announced that they'll be closing at the end of January. So by February 2025 they will be gone. And that is a London vegan restaurant that was founded by Earthling Ed, who is pretty big in the vegan sphere. He's one of our biggest influencers, I guess, but also a business owner. He owns not only Unity Diner in London, but also No Catch in Brighton. And they're just a real vegan business. Like, from the suppliers they use to the charities they support, they just make sure everything is just so vegan ethics. They just make sure that vegan ethics is at the top. Since their opening, a proportion of their profits has been going to support Surge Animal Sanctuary, so that is incredible. And it's so sad to see Unity Diner kind of leave the vegan restaurant scene, mostly because of this. I just never doubted their vegan ethics. But yeah, as I was walking past, I couldn't help but wonder, would they have had to have closed shop if they introduced meat to their menus? And we've definitely seen a few vegan restaurants stop being vegan restaurants over the last couple of years. I thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of study what happened, what the impact was, and was it worth doing? So obviously the big question is why? Why would you start serving animals? And a lot of the times restaurants will say it is like for financial reasons. They're struggling, they'd like to stay open, so they're gonna often try introducing meat to their menu. One restaurant that did this last year in October was Oowee in Bristol. Oowee is like a vegan fast food restaurant, and they have 2 burger chains in Bristol, and one of them has introduced meat to the menu and the other one stayed vegan. By the way, we are making a juice this morning. I ate a lot of this products yesterday, and I feel like my body needs something light and full of nutrients this morning, basically. But yeah, I find Bristol kind of similar to London and Brighton. It's definitely one of the more vegan-friendly cities. I think when their MPs, a green MP and everything, that's quite a feat. So if there's anywhere a vegan restaurant should survive, it is there. Their reasons for introducing meat to their menu was around like financial reasons and stating that too many local vegan businesses had kind of gone under recently. So it's hard to argue with that. And I like that they kept one of their branches vegan. And I'm just like kind of curious about like the location of these places. So if you're from Bristol and you're watching this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Oowee changing one of their sites to be not fully vegan. Did anyone really notice? Does it kind of make sense for the 2 different areas? Like, what's the deal going on there? I don't know. I just feel like if I owned a restaurant, I would never wave on that, you know? I'm a vegan, the food would be vegan, everything's vegan, you know? And I'd rather go under and find something new to do in my life than start being part of the system that kills and eats animals. I just don't want that at all in my life. I don't want to be responsible for that. Sorry, that's going to be a bit loud for a minute. But then I feel like a very interesting counter argument is that if you have a vegan restaurant that is either going to go under or introduce a bit of meat and become like an 80% vegan restaurant, what is the better option? Wouldn't you rather have a restaurant that's mostly vegan but serves a bit of meat to appeal to a broader audience, or have them close down and get replaced by a Burger King or a kebab shop? You know what I mean? Like, which one is actually better? Which one's going to encourage more vegan meals in the long run? I just think that's an interesting question. And yeah, when this news hit in October, I kind of posed that to my audience and did a little poll on my newsletter. 42% of my readers said that they would continue to support this place in that sort of scenario, whereas 58% said that they wouldn't. It's just, they can't get on board with it, which I completely understand. So yeah, I'm quite keen to hear what you guys think about that in that scenario. What is the lesser evil, I guess is the way to put it. But look at that shade of green. It definitely smells like celery. If you're not a celery fan, this would not be for you. I'm not going to say it's delicious, but it feels nutritious and it feels nourishing. But yeah, I feel like in this scenario, there is an assumption that your business will do better if you start serving meat, which is where I think there may be an issue. Like, are we sure? And unless you are sure, I think it is a really poor move to be adding meat to your menu. And I'd also actually like to know, do you feel like there's a difference between adding meat to your menu and adding like dairy to your menu? For example, I think if a cafe had its default milk as soy milk or oat milk, but people were allowed to request dairy, I think that would be okay. I don't know. If it were my cafe though, would I allow it? It's very interesting. But I think as a restaurant owner, you'd probably feel a bit more in control if you can decide that the problem is something in your control. So yes, you can stand here and decide to add meat to your menu if that means your business will survive. So you will choose to do that. But that actually might not be the issue. The issue might just be the economy. It is really hard to be a restaurant right now, and so many businesses are still trying to recover from the pandemic. And are you just hoping it is a problem you can fix rather than it being the economy, which you alone cannot fix? You see my point? And sorry, I need my notes for this, but I think a good case study is the rise and fall of Clean Kitchen. So if you don't know Clean Kitchen, I think they may have even made it all the way up to Manchester, but they had a few branches in London. They were founded in like 2020 by Mikey Pierce and Verity Bowditch. They were 100% plant-based with sustainability apparently at their core, but even then I was always a bit weirded out by them because they'd say they were kind of sustainably focused, but they never really explained how much. Like they'd say they use vegware, but at a restaurant where you can really dine in, maybe you should be using plates that can be washed and reused rather than something disposable, even if it is vegware. I understand there is a time and place for vegware, but it didn't seem like this was it. But yeah, they grew rapidly with locations around London, with locations including Camden, Notting Hill and Wembley. They secured 2 million in seed funding and high-profile investors, including former McDonald's CEO Steve Easterbrook? God, I do not know my McDonald's. But yeah, they plan to open like 40 more stores. I remember at the time thinking they weren't really offering anything exceptional or groundbreaking, but it must have helped that the two founders had some sort of celebrity to them from like Made in Chelsea. And also like, I was always confused by like the title Clean Kitchen because their food was like generally burgers and nuggets and stuff, and they never really explained too much what the clean meant. And I feel like the word clean kind of came in and out of food really fast. I think it got called out pretty early on for having kind of unhealthy connotations and no real definition, just a very wishy-washy term. Anyway, fast forward to 2024, they added animal products to their menu. This was pivoting to a whole foods approach. I imagine it was because they were struggling and they were trying to think of something new to do that could help them stay afloat. At this point, Verity decided to leave because the brand no longer aligned with her morals. And I think that was a very good move. I think we all thought it at the time, now in hindsight, definitely. But yeah, I feel like generally it alienated the vegan community. We felt quite betrayed, and it always kind of felt a bit like a cash grab to me. I felt like they were just trying to be the forerunners on vegan fast food, and their competitive edge was their connections to funding, which felt quite icky to me in the restaurant scene. I was never really a big fan of theirs. But yeah, flash forward to January 2025, and I'm struggling to see any existence still of Clean Kitchen. They have an Instagram, and apparently they have a restaurant in Battersea Power Station, but Google's suggesting it's permanently closed. A lot of the reviews were saying it was very rarely open during its opening hours, so it seems like they crashed and burned, and adding meat to the menu did not save them at all. They've trashed their reputation, their loyal customers, and they're just gone. And I think the one saving grace of this is Verity leaving at the right point. I think she managed to withhold her reputation, so that was a very good move. So I feel like the lesson here is if your business is failing, it might not be because of veganism. And I have another case, Benji's buns. So this drama completely missed me, but last year when I was doing my research into my Why is Everyone Quitting Veganism video, which I am actually very proud of, I think it's a good watch, so I'll leave that link down below. I was kind of like talking to my followers a lot about brands, influencers, restaurants, celebrities quitting veganism. And I was kind of trying to explore who's handled it well versus who's handled it badly. And a lot of people came back saying that Benji's buns did an awful job of it, like horrendous. And I'll be honest, doing research for this video, I'm still a bit confused because basically Benji's built their following and their business, their small business, on vegan customers and vegan products. And then they stopped being 100% vegan. I believe they introduced meat to their menu, but they're mostly doing buns, so I find that a bit confusing. Yeah, when I was just trying to like Google and see what the situation is now, it appears as though they might be vegan again. Like their website says they're now vegan, and the latest Google review kind of says that everything was vegan. But I think it is worth going back to see how messy it was when they stopped going vegan. I'm gonna read out some Google reviews because it was drama. And God bless Google reviews because I've been struggling to find like details of the drama. Lewis, 7 months ago. Incredibly disappointed with the business owner's decision to move away from serving vegan food. They built up their successful reputation off of the back of the vegan community and have now completely sold out and turned their backs on them. When introducing meat/non-vegan options to their menu, the overwhelming majority of their customers, whom of which are vegan, were asking on Instagram if these were vegan, to which the business owners very bluntly declared that they are moving away from being a vegan business, and then decided to completely block anyone who left a comment about this topic. Not only is this incredibly rude, it is an awful business practice which has destroyed their reputation. These people have taken advantage of the vegan community in London, building up their brand and name off of pretending to be a 100% vegan business, And having now done a complete U-turn and showing their true colours, they have now lost more business than how much they will gain from adding meat to their menu. Congratulations, your greedy and shady business decisions will be your downfall. Yikes. What else do we have here? There was Michael 6 months ago. Absolutely gross method of promotion. The owner threw a pity party on social media about how veganism saved his life and all that, proceeded to become popular and open 2 vegan cinnamon roll shops that weren't that good to begin with, only to start serving meat and eggs without warning. How can we prove that they weren't selling non-vegan items to vegans? My wife is vegan and used to buy rolls, but felt sick at the idea that she might have been served animal products. I mean, I think that is a bit of a leap. I reckon they were vegan and then changed their mind. I don't think they were ever misleading people what they were selling. I would be very surprised, and I feel like you cannot really just throw that out unfounded. So I'm going to just interject there. I don't think that is an at all fair accusation for Benji and his buns. And to top things off, he started blocking anyone that commented or inquired about the change on Instagram. Real classy move, Benji. Make sure you promote your face a bit more. Ooh. I think later on we're going to talk a bit more about etiquette when it comes to complaining as a vegan online. Any misinformation or borderline threatening behaviour is just so not acceptable, so let's just clear that out right now. But yeah, like I said, restaurants seems to have gone back to being 100% vegan. And I think in this case study, it's really important to actually acknowledge that a lot of the backlash didn't necessarily come from the brand deciding to no longer be vegan. But if you are going to make this change, be transparent about it. Like, do not try and pull the wool over people's eyes. Do not try and block or delete comments that are highlighting this change. If you're trying to be subtle and shady about it, that can be not only upsetting for vegans, but hugely risky for anyone with an allergy. That can be life or death. Absolutely not acceptable to kind of hide this change and be shady about it. And I think vegans do have it in them to offer some sympathy. Like if a restaurant is actually very sincere about their choice to introduce, say, dairy to their restaurant, or whatever, like it comes from a heartfelt place, I think people are more likely to be sympathetic and willing to continue supporting a restaurant rather than this sort of behaviour which is just so isolating and so rude. I'd love to hear a bit more from Benji's side of things. If anyone knows of any response on the internet that I can read through and see a bit more on this, I'm quite curious, because I also do think in the decision to move back to vegan food, I kind of do want to support that redemption and that chance to go again, but I would also appreciate an apology to the community, and I could not really clearly see one. And if I were Benji, I'd probably put that front and center on Instagram, just so that people are kind of aware that you're vegan again. I'm just a bit confused. Why have you switched back, but you're kind of being quiet about it? Have you switched back completely? I'm still a bit, I'm not guaranteeing it. I'm literally going off Google reviews. I don't really understand the full story. I've never even been to this buns place. I know it's in London, but it's not really the sort of food I'm drawn to, and it's on the other side of London, so it's not somewhere I would have gone out of my way to try. Unfortunately, I've got no thoughts on the buns and no recent experience in this store, but just sounds messy, doesn't it? It seems for the purpose of this video, safe to assume they've gone back to being vegan, the evidence kind of supports that. However, if you're ordering there, do double check, basically. It's just another indication that ditching veganism is not gonna help your business, and especially if you do it in a way that isolates the majority of your customers. I know, I appreciate this might vary city to city, I'm talking about London and we're a very vegan friendly city here. So if anyone's got any other personal anecdotes from their local area, I would be very curious. Yeah, basically in summary, I just don't think there is enough evidence to say that ditching veganism is going to help your restaurant. I think it's more likely that the economy is the issue rather than veganism. I cannot end this video without talking about Google reviews, because I think our community is particularly notorious for being savage on this. I don't think we always are following through best practices. But I think in even the research of this video, I have understood a lot more the benefits of a Google review. When restaurants aren't really being transparent about their vegan offerings, Google reviews can be really helpful. It's really handy seeing people comment saying, hey, this place is no longer 100% vegan, or, oh, everything in here is vegan. So if you can use it as an opportunity to offer transparency, that can be handy, but please make sure it's first-hand experience. Don't attack the owners, don't leave fake reviews. If you have not been there, do not talk as though you've been there. I can understand in a situation where you've maybe clashed with the owner and been blocked by the owner on Instagram that maybe you want to leave a review, but make sure it's very clear that your review is about an interaction online. Don't make up stuff about going to their restaurant and slamming their products unfairly. No lying, no trying to destroy someone's business, and no kind of dogpiling on anyone. Don't go on message boards or group chats and say, let's destroy this business because they've done this or that. That's not on, that's not fair, that's not acceptable, especially with a small business. Let's conduct ourselves with some grace. The do's are transparency and real experiences, and the don'ts are dogpiling, fake reviews, and any threatening language or implications of threatening language. I understand it's hurtful to see a business kind of really ditch an ethic we have committed our lives to, but let's not be nasty dickheads about it, okay? But yeah, I think it's just been interesting that when I feel like a lot of narrative is that compromising and putting meat on the menu might be the best way to survive, the evidence might show that actually the real merit is staying true to your own ethics and integrity. And especially if you want to be in this industry for a long time, like the vegan movement is growing. It takes very little to lose our trust and a lot to regain it. I think that's just something to keep in mind. And at the end of the day, treat us with respect, especially if we're the customers that have grown your restaurant. Just generally, I think our government should be doing more to support small businesses, especially in like the restaurant trade. Thank you so much for joining me on another video. I am doing a video every day throughout Veganuary. I just thought this was quite a fun, interesting topic, and it's been nice to have someone to chat to about it. I didn't realise, I think when I walked past G&T dining yesterday, I didn't realise I had so many thoughts on it, but God, I could yap. But lovely chatting, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye. Mwah.